the Iranian regime will not agree to 0% enrichment, and it will not stop its nuclear weapons program. Recall that this program has cost the Iranian people more than $2 trillion. That's more than the cost of the 8-year Iran-Iraq war. And it has acted as a life insurance policy.
But now, two big meetings are taking place in Geneva today. A US brokered meeting between Russian and Ukrainian officials, more on that in a moment or two, and Iranian and US officials meet too. The US and Iran renewed negotiations earlier this month, debating again a decades-long dispute over Tehran's nuclear program. Ahead of the talks, Iran began military drills in the Strait of Hormuz. That's a waterway vital to the world's oil supplies. Washington has deployed warships, including a second aircraft carrier, to the region as mediators work to prevent a war. Ali Safavi is a member of the National Council of the Resistance of Iran and joins us now again. Ali, good morning.
Good morning to you, Rosie. How are you doing this morning?
I'm very well. Can you explain, from your perspective, what's the aim of the talks today?
Well, as it's been stated by the people involved on the American side and made public, they demand 1, zero enrichment on the part of the Iranian regime, 2, delivering the 400 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium stockpile, 3, putting limits on the range of the ballistic missiles that the regime has, 4, stopping Tehran's long-running interference, malign activities in the region, and arming, supporting, and training its proxy militias across the Middle East. And 4, and perhaps most importantly, is to halt the suppression of the Iranian people, the killings that we have witnessed during the January uprising. So these are the demands that the U.S. has made public. It is requiring from the Iranian regime to accept.
And I think I know how you're going to answer this. I mean, the Trump administration insisting Iran can have no uranium enrichment under a deal. How likely is it that those terms that you've just laid out there from the US are ones that Iran will be able to agree to?
Well, as they say, past is prologue. Quite frankly, if the experience of the past 2 decades is any indication, the Iranian regime will not agree to 0% enrichment, and it will not stop its nuclear weapons program. Recall that this program has cost the Iranian people more than $2 trillion. That's more than the cost of the 8-year Iran-Iraq war. And it has acted as a life insurance policy for the Iranian regime, having the experience of Iraq, Libya, Ukraine, and of course, North Korea. And so there's no circumstances under which I believe the Iranian regime will abandon its nuclear weapons program. If it were interested in doing that, it could have done it a long, long time ago. No reason to kick the can down the road for so many years. Naturally, it is not going to abandon its missile program, and nor is it going to forego its support for its proxy terrorist group across the region, because naturally it needs all of these. They talk about strategic depth to basically divert attention from home, where the situation is quite precarious, with an economy in a free fall, with an enraged citizens, even more so now after the slaughter of thousands of people during the January protests. So the regime would need all of these to fend off any reignition, if you will, or eruption of another uprising, which will be, in my view, much more wide scale and much more ferocious in its extent.
Yeah, which is hard actually to even imagine after the reports we had in January. You mentioned the economy. The Times is talking this morning about the potential of there being a compromise. I wonder what you think of this. Something being put on the table of saying, look, Iran, you have to agree not to enrich uranium for a set period of years, but you retain the right to in return, you could maybe get sanctions relief from the US, which might provide sort of a lifeline to the economy. Can you see there's sort of a way through that could involve a compromise like that?
Well, again, the issue is if the intent is for the Iranian regime not to have nuclear weapons, then there must be no retreating from the stated position of zero enriched uranium, period. And recall that over the past, as I said, 20-some years that the regime has been negotiating with the European Troika back in 2003, after NCRI revealed its secret nuclear program in August of 2002. And then in later years, under the auspices of the P5+1, and then under the Obama administration, under the Biden administration, under this current administration, the last round of talks, that we haven't gotten anywhere. And this regime has a history of denial, duplicity, and deception. So what guarantees are there to prevent the regime from continuing its enrichment somewhere in Iran? We know about his activities, or some of it, in the declared sites. What about the sites that the international community has no knowledge whatsoever of where they are and what activities are being undertaken?
Yeah.
I think if the Trump administration is looking to assist the Iranian people instead of engaging in endless talks with the regime, it should do several things. These are demands that tens of thousands of Iranians shouted back on February 7th in Berlin, which is one, to basically deny Iran any lifeline to pursue its nefarious activities in nuclear weapons program, cut it off from the financial market in the world, impose sanctions on officials of this regime who were involved in the massacre of the Iranian people, hold them before an international tribunal, and of course ensure that the Iranian people have the right to defend themselves against this regime, and also to bring about regime change in Iran. I think that's the right course of action. These type of negotiations, give or takes, regarding the nuclear program have been ongoing for so many years with no tangible results whatsoever.
And we will see if today is any different. But it's been very helpful, Ali, to have your assessment and analysis, really, of the optimism ahead of it, which is pretty slim, it sounds. Ali Safavi, member of the National Council of the Resistance of Iran, thank you very much.